So one of the ways that we're implementing gratitude at school and also at home with my family is to highlight the idea that we should be grateful for what we have and not ungrateful for what we don't have. So at the moment I teach year 3-4, there's a very big focus on fairness and equity and turn taking, and it was my go, and no, it was my go. And that can be from anything like, it's my go to turn off the light when we watch something on the interactive whiteboard to, no, it was my turn to help so-and-so go to the office. So, there's a lot of onus on fairness, and being grateful for what you've got and not ungrateful for what you don't have shifts the conversation away from, well, it's all about me, to how can I be a better member of my class community, my school community, my whole community. And that leads to the gratitude journals that we use in class and that I also use at home, where we're trying to focus students on not just thinking about the big picture stuff, which is I'm really grateful for, nice weather and my family and I go to a great school, because we can be grateful for those things all the time. And there are peaks and troughs to how that goes. We much more want to focus on what am I grateful for today? What happened today that I'm really grateful for? What can I reflect on that was good today?
The biggest thing that I noticed when we started giving them journals to fill in every day, and we would do it in the morning, it was like they became more open with their feelings and their emotions, with me, but also with their friends. And often they're like, do you want to read it? And I was like, no, that's okay. That's your private little journal, but they'd want to share and they'd want to talk about it. And it was a nice way to start the day as well. As I said, I didn't use it with year 1, but year 6 and now year 4, I'm using it. And it just gives them that 10-minute little bubble where they can kind of reflect and think how they're feeling and write not just what they're grateful for, but why. And we have a process where they write it, but they have to explain why and have to sit with it and think, okay, well, what would my life be without those things? And then that helps them, really to feel grateful for what they have and change their headspace.
And that constant reaffirmation of positivity in a child's life on a daily basis is going to have a bigger impact on their ability to live their life by having a cup half full than a cup half empty. And I think that's what we're starting to see as a result of the work that we've been doing.
So I think they can name thoughts and feelings, whereas classes in the past they haven't really had the opportunity to either though. I think they just want to feel heard, and so what we've been doing allows them to be.
Using some of the language which has come out of the resilience projects and that we've been really explicitly modelling as teachers in class and as a school in general, I've noticed that there are kids who are now taking more ownership over what they want to say and how they want to say it to people who are, maybe not being kind or maybe showing them behaviours that they find awkward or they're uncomfortable with. So we have phrases such as, I'm not comfortable with this conversation, which I'm hearing around the school. I'm hearing students saying things like, we need to respect our own personal space and we need to be respectful of others. And those are really heartwarming to hear, kids starting to be problem solvers in their social interactions rather than having an issue and not knowing how to deal with it.
If I'm conferencing with a child about an issue in the playground or something like that, I think definitely I've noticed a difference in they can articulate how they're feeling, which, is brilliant, because if you can name what you're feeling, you can work through it. Last year, I didn't do gratitude journals with my year 1 class, but we talked about it. We had a Thursday afternoon session based on GEM, and each term would have a focus. So one would be gratitude, the next one would be mindfulness, and I have a Calm app, meditation app. So they would do like little mindfulness sessions, and then we talk about why we need to be mindful. Actually, I had a parent message me last year saying she could tell the days that we did mindfulness sessions because her son came home and he was more calm, and at the dinner table he was like more calm. So I'm like, oh, but there's an effect that it's
definitely
flowing through to family life.
I think having taught for a few years and in this school setting as well, that I've seen a decline in resilience around our students and maybe in myself as well. And my concerns are around concentration levels, over-engagement with technology, and a lack of social coercion in conflict resolution. And because of those concerns that, I know, just working with kids and being in a big kind of social atmosphere every day, I think there's, it's led to there being a need for a focus on resilience, and gratitude is a really great way to lead into that.
But there's a lot of needy kids, and I feel like this is like the perfect thing for them at the moment. I think they're more calm, definitely. It's a positive vibe. Like it's, they're all thinking about how grateful they are for their lives, and then we start learning, and they're in this a happy, bubble. And even the kids who might have come in having a bad morning, or, something's wrong, they're focusing on the things that they are grateful for. It helps them just flick that switch a little bit.
Something that I started at home straight away with my family, I've got 3 girls, was to start a daily gratitude journal, which is mirrored at school as well, which I do with my class. And I think what's really important about the main sort of rules around the gratitude journal is that it's not about saying I'm really grateful for, my family and my school and that it's summer. Those are really big sort of generalities, and it's really about unpacking, what...
So my eldest daughter came home with "dis" written on her wrist, and at first, I didn't twig because I hadn't read the book in a while, but then I was like, what's that? She's like, oh, there's this little boy, we heard a story about this little boy. I was like, oh yeah, he used to point to, things and that you wouldn't be grateful for as, living in a Western culture, but grateful for the smallest amount of things, shoes with holes in them. She had it on her wrist as a reminder, and I just thought, yes, I was really excited when I found out that they were doing it, because I think it's so important, and those 3 pillars is what I base my whole, in my classroom, like the whole mental and wellbeing space.
Well, I was introduced to the book by my principal in a PL session, and then I noticed it was accession to our library, so I grabbed a copy and I took it home and I read it. And it was really, really good, because it opened my eyes and reminded me how fortunate, how grateful, how lucky we are to live where we live and to do what we do and to be part of the community that we're part of. Because, there's millions, billions of people who are doing it much tougher than us, and yet their outlook on life can be a lot more positive, and that's got me wondering why. So that book was really good for that.
Yeah, I think I might have seen it on Instagram, maybe, like on a teacher thing. Read it in a day because it was such an easy read, and I think I might have texted a colleague about it, you have to read this book. And then I think maybe a week later, you were like, you have to read this book. And I'm especially at home, so it's I have the Calm app. That's something that I used to do just to get my headspace right, but then combining it with the stories that Hugh talks about as well, it puts things into perspective a lot more, and it helps you just, kind of get out of your little world and think about, everything else. And I wanted to share that with my kids. I have noticed a difference since we started it. It affected the kids in a positive way.
Look, I think the assemblies were great because it shows that these are not sort of individual teachers or parents or students who are involved in this activity and this mindfulness, which is really about helping our whole school community with their general well-being. But I think it was really good for them to do that in a group setting and see that from our leadership team and from our principal and exec that this is something that we're all doing and that we're all aware of, and that it's going to benefit us all to be doing it. And I thought it was really nice to do that in a combined setting, because it became a shared experience rather than something that you're just doing in a journal by yourself.
With year 1, I noticed with year 1, because they would just take that all in like a sponge, and everything that you said about you know, and the practices of being grateful in that assembly, and close your eyes and think of something, and then go back chattering about it. And I think as being like a team of colleagues, trying to reinforce that message everywhere, I think it's really important that we did that.
So our welcome back assemblies, our beginning of the year assemblies, are a really, really great opportunity to, you know, bring our students back into the fold after a long break. And if there have been, you know, events that have been going on in our school, if there have been events that have been going on in and around our community or in our country, such as extreme weather events, then it's a really good opportunity to acknowledge those firstly, and then to remind, you know, our student community about gratitude and mindfulness and well-being, you know, in the context that we may not have been affected as badly by those events as other communities. So I think they're really, really good opportunities to connect with our students and to, you know, acknowledge what's going on in the wider context.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a life practice of how to, you know, have healthy mental space and healthy well-being.